Hello and welcome to The Passion Show. My name is Phil and joining me as always is my co-host Kyle.
Hello.
And this week we're talking to Sam.
Hey, how you doing? So in today's episode we're talking about cinematography. So Sam, you're a director on...
Yeah, I direct some stuff. I mostly shoot stuff, so it would be a
Okay.
DP, a director of photography. Yeah.
So this is a topic I'm quite excited for because I really like cinematography and I like it in films. So when did you first notice cinematography? When did it really show itself to you in film and stuff like that?
If I have to talk about a specific moment, to me, you guys seen Revenge of the Sith? The best movie of all time, Revenge of the Sith, of course. I just remember being, I must be 7 or 8. I come into the cinema, we're a bit late, we sit down, and it just starts, and they're just in space.
Yeah.
What? How did they go to space?
How did they do this?
Did they take a camera into space?
That's the best kind of shot, isn't it? Where you're just like, how the hell did they film this?
Exactly.
That's really fascinating.
Yeah, that Marvel has never left me.
Wow.
Of
A Revenge of the Sith, the very start of it.
yeah.
Yeah. So when did you start getting into cinematography as a hobby? Did it come with sort of college or uni or anything like that?
Not really, to be honest. It was just so I went to an American high school, so my high school was what your college is, and during that I did a lot of photography just for fun. All my friends were Instagram models or whatever, and they were just hey, you have a camera, could you take my photo? And as that developed, I just started shooting films as well because it would come up YouTube recommended when I'm looking at photography tutorials. And just from there, I got really invested in stories and narratives and how do you improve something with visuals.
Mm-hmm.
So what are your favourite examples of cinematography in cinema?
So I love Roger Deakins,
Yeah.
who's basically the most popular cinematographer at the moment because he's a genius. Films that he's shot Blade Runner and Jarhead, and coming up soon 1917.
He did Skyfall and stuff like that as well.
I'm very excited for 1917.
Oh yeah, I think it's gonna be fantastic.
It looks gorgeous.
Have you seen the the trailer where it shows it's all in one shot?
Yeah,
That's a genius idea, isn't it?
Yeah.
I love Birdman for that. It's so good.
Mhm.
It's so good.
Oh, Gonzalez and Inarritu, who did that, also fantastic shot. His cinematographer Lebetsky, Emmanuel Lebetsky, he never won an Oscar before, and then he won the Oscar 3 years in a row.
Didn't he win for The Revenant? Was that?
Yeah.
Whenever I think of cinematography, I go to The Revenant because that film's gorgeous.
Yeah.
And I remember watching it and think, like I said before, how do you even get these shots? How do you even?
It's practical as well.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
practically lit.
They literally, I think they filmed an hour every day for 3 months or something like that because they wanted to get that perfect golden hour of lighting and they wanted to use all natural light, and that just must have been a grueling task on set.
Yeah.
Just waiting around in the cold for this 1 hour, and if it doesn't go well, you just have to wait till tomorrow.
And I know for people that aren't movie geeks like us, right, saying oh, shot in natural light, you would assume that's a lot of stuff, but it's really not. Anytime that they don't have to use natural light, they just don't, because it's infinitely easier to put in a light or to make it look like the sun. Just replicating stuff is what cinema is,
Yeah.
What about you, Phil?
What
are your favourite pieces of cinematography in cinema?
I like Roger Deakins a lot, like Sam said, because stuff like Blade Runner, he did Blade Runner 2049, and that just looks gorgeous. And he only recently won an Oscar, didn't he, for that?
Yeah, that was
he's
his
been working.
first Oscar after 13 nominations.
Crazy, that's how good he is.
Yeah.
I watched a video, and it was top 10 cinematographers, and it had Manuel Lubezki and stuff like that. And then number 1 was Roger Deakins, and it was obviously it's Roger Deakins because he's great. You know what I mean?
We talk about Blade Runner a lot on this podcast, don't we?
Yeah,
it's a good film.
It's such a...
Do you know what else to talk about a lot?
What?
Disney Plus.
Yeah. Do you know what else we talk about a lot, in terms of cinematography? La La Land.
Oh. That is a good film for cinematography, though. It looks great.
You're a big fan of that, aren't you, Sam?
I really enjoy La La Land, yeah. I think that it really adds to the spectacle that is Hollywood.
Yeah.
Because that's clearly what they're replicating, right? The young people spending a life there, trying to make a living in what they love, and they're constantly blinded by the beauty,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And there's glimpse moments like in the argument scene outside a house, and there's only a few scenes in the film where they're like, oh shit, I have to live, I have to make food and stuff. I've forgotten because I'm just so busy making stuff that I love and hearing it and making it my life.
Yeah. What sort of films have you made?
So currently studying filmmaking at School of Art.
Okay.
We shot a documentary last year with my friends Callum and Joe.
Mm-hmm.
We've done a couple narratives. So at the moment it is shorts to trying to shoot as much as possible to take the skill and the craft to what it can be. Because eventually, you know, I'll come out of this experience and I'll just be like, oh, can someone please pay me to shoot something? And they'll be like, how many things you shot? And if I'm like, oh, I shot 5, they'll be like, bye.
Yeah, so it's all about like building up your what is it?
Portfolio.
Your portfolio. Yeah. It's all about building up your portfolio now.
Yeah.
Sort of thing. That's interesting. Like.
But like if you're asking like most recently, I made a self-exploration documentary about my ADHD.
Okay.
It's called Hyperactive.
Yeah.
I completed it for the project that it was necessary at uni.
Yeah.
But I'm since going back to it and re-editing it.
Oh really? So you're gonna add more stuff to it and flesh it out?
Yeah, that's the plan. Because it begins like when I watch it now, it's like, okay, this is a beginning on something, and it never quite gets to what I want it to be.
Yeah. Does it kind of feel like is it a project that's sort of quite close to your heart? You know what I mean? That you want to make it as good as you can.
It's like self-expression.
Yeah, and it really like pains me to watch it.
Yeah.
Just because most of the shots are of my face, and like shooting myself is like really difficult a lot of the time. Frame myself up and super awkward. And to watch your friends and hear your own voice reflected through like their eyes, it's strange.
That does sound like a strange experience, but it sounds like a good sort of passion project you've got going. Like
exactly, that's the plan.
So you said it was like talking about like what was it, ADHD that you were?
Yeah.
So do you want to like discuss that a little bit if you can?
Yeah. So I recently got diagnosed with ADHD, like at the start of the year. Let's call it 3 months ago.
Yeah.
Uni year. And I've known my entire life.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everyone I've ever met has been like, "Wow, you're so ADHD," and I'm like, "Yeah, I know. Thanks. It's super helpful."
Yeah.
But I've never had the official diagnosis. Because I've been dyslexic my whole life, and I was diagnosed for that. It was never really a concern of the family to like get me diagnosed. But both those things lead a lot into my love for cinema.
Like I've acted in a film that you've directed before. You were dead set on like making a good product.
Yeah, I mean that's always the goal, and to me that's how I like measure success. You know, a film can be as good as it is. It's a lot of people are involved. You can't just blame yourself when it goes badly, and you can't just say it's all you when it goes well.
Yeah,
you know? Yeah. It's a collaboration of everyone, and that's a beautiful thing when it goes well. And sometimes it doesn't go as well. So like with a project like that, I came out of it being not super excited about the result.
Yeah,
but I know that I put my all into it, and there's aspects that I can pull out of it and be like, okay, that was great, and I put my all into.
Yeah, I've done that with like short films that I had to make. Like we had to make one in first year that I won't go into, but didn't turn out great. We didn't get like that great of a grade, but there was some bits in it that I enjoyed. Like I enjoyed editing it, like that, and it taught me a lot about editing and shooting and stuff like that. And I like that about filmmaking. I like each experience like builds towards the next.
Yeah,
I think that's quite good.
Fun.
Yeah,
it's just fun to get a load of friends together and like fuck around with a camera, you know. And just shove a boom in someone's face and like, act, will you? Just do it. So that experience, I hope, never leaves me.
Yeah.
Like, still, I do like some paid stuff now.
Yeah.
So like when a company's like, oh, can you come shoot this? And they like give me the camera, I'm like, whoa, this camera's so cool. I haven't used this one before.
Do you not feel like intimidated when you get given like this sort of huge camera that you've never like looked at in your life?
I get a bit nervous. But they're all along the same lines, right?
Yeah,
They
yeah.
all do the same thing. It's
fun.
just the button's in a different place or whatever. And a lot of the time, beforehand, you're like, oh, I'm not really sure how to do this. And then as soon as you start rolling, it's just you're in the zone.
Okay.
You know?
It sounds like a good like mindset to be in for like a filmmaker. You know what I mean?
So what are your goals?
My goals.
That's such a deep question.
I'm so
Imagine
sorry.
asking
No,
someone
that's
that.
You ask
That's
it
a
every
great
episode.
That's a great question. My goal is I want to work in the film industry as in the film industry in the camera department. A lot of people come into this being like, oh, I want to be a director. I want to be a DOP.
Mhm.
Realistically, you know, you don't know if that's going to happen. But what I want out of my career and my life is a creative influence that someone can look at something that I've made and say, you can see what I've put into it.
Mhm.
That's what's most important to me.
Wow. Yeah.
Are you interested in like authorship and like the idea that like you know, someone has like staples throughout their career, so like throughout their portfolio they have like a connecting thread. Do you
Mhm.
like that sort of idea within your own work?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so. I mean, within my own work, no, I don't have that yet.
Yeah.
But I find that idea fascinating.
Yeah.
Like with Hitchcock or
Mhm.
Fincher, so much of their work, you're seeing that beforehand. They're like, oh, I haven't really done this before, so I want to try this with this project,
Mhm.
and that's what I'm trying to replicate. But because obviously I'm not in a point yet where I've mastered anything, you know, I'm only just beginning.
Yeah, it's like you can look at like one of David Fincher's first films and be like, oh, that's amazing, but you forget that he had like a whole career before that making
Oh, yeah.
adverts, and then probably before that making short films, and everyone just builds and builds and builds. So like you can set yourself like a good goal of, you know, working in the camera department, but that could be like the lowest, you know,
yeah, exactly.
person in that group, or you could be the director of photography. You know, there's a wide range, and I sort of feel like any of those you'd be happy to work with just because it's the film industry and
Exactly.
it's what you'd love doing. It's quite inspiring.
And
It's
I
quite
think that's a
interesting.
really great point, what you say about, and I think that's a really great point, is because so often you see, like, Nolan's short film, first one, you can see online,
Mm-hmm.
and everyone's like, oh, that's his first film. It's like, no, that's not his first film.
Yeah.
He shot dozens and dozens before that he didn't think were good enough to put online, or he didn't even develop the film, or he didn't even edit them. Because that's what happens sometimes. Because so much is a learning process, you know? So anything you're doing, even before it's done, you can tell what you're going to take out of it.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't just look at the end product and be like, oh, that's what it is.
Yeah, it's all about learning, because if you make like a short film or something and you just think it's like the bee's knees, and then when someone gives you like a bit of criticism, you can't take that. You need to sort of like break down those barriers, because you need to be able to take criticism and understand where you're going wrong and where your niche is, basically, where your own like style is and where it's going to come from.
So what advice would you give to anyone who's like aspiring to do what you do?
Yeah, I was going to ask this because cameras can be so intimidating of like getting into them. So where would you say
definitely
start?
Okay, first of all, I don't think I'm warranted to answer that question at all. Like I'm 19 of figuring it out.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the first time someone's answered like that.
But if you're asking if like a 15-year-old that just got a camera, like, what do I do? Just shoot as much as possible.
Just take as much pictures or film as much stuff.
Yeah, and as in different conditions.
Mm-hmm.
Like so often, I struggle with this sometimes. Like when you're shooting something, you always want it to be the best condition. So you're like, oh, let's shoot this scene at sunset,
Mm-hmm.
and you're like, yeah, that'll probably look great. But you know, if this is a scene where a couple's getting divorced, actually, that would be pretty good. That would be like dramatically ironic in a way.
That's what you should do.
That's what I was shooting. I just thought that because have you guys seen Marriage Story?
No.
It just came on Netflix. Noah Baumbach. Are you familiar?
No.
Oh, he's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically a story about divorce.
Okay.
And how trippy and weird it is.
Ooh.
And Noah Baumbach's an awesome director because he's constantly just looking at people in between stages of their life.
Yeah.
like his other movie that's also on Netflix, My Wit Stories.
I've seen that.
Yeah,
That's really good.
yeah,
I was trying to talk about that the other day. Someone, was it you, when we were talking about Adam Sandler? And I was like,
yeah. This is like
using
one of
a
his
good
only
film.
good films.
yeah,
Right?
it's
I
fucking
remember you
great.
saying the name.
Yeah, the My
Yeah.
Wit Stories.
Okay.
Really good. Watch it.
Yeah.
I might watch this Marriage Story because it's the same director.
Yeah,
Might
and
watch that
Scarlett
now.
Johansson, Adam Driver.
Ooh.
Oh damn, it's a good cast.
Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good.
I meant to go see it in cinemas because it was shot on 35mm,
Oh, well.
and I'm just a super nerd about like film.
Yeah,
But I didn't get a chance to do that, unfortunately. But I watched it on Netflix recently. It's a fun time.
yeah.
Here's a question. What did you think of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood? It's a bit of a random question, but
Yeah, it is. I really enjoyed it.
It's good, isn't it?
Yeah, to me, it's like it's not really a movie.
It's odd, isn't it? It kind of has no like it has no like agency to tell a
Yeah.
story. It's just sort of meandering around.
Yeah.
But it's interesting in what it does. I think the characters, the performances are all really good.
yeah.
I mean, I love Brad Pitt so much. I watch him do anything.
He's great, isn't
The
he?
fact you just watch him drive around
Yeah.
and just like that when he just sees that girl on the street and he's just like, "Are you going now?" He's like,
I mean, he's just on the roof, just shirtless, just building stuff.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
just great.
I'll watch Brad Pitt shows any day. I need to rewatch that actually. Last night because Callum was saying because everyone in my house we're all filmmakers. So George is a producer, Callum's a director, and Joe writes and edits. So we have like an in-house like production team,
That sounds
and
brilliant.
that's what we're using to make the next project that we're planning to do.
Sick.
So often Callum's just like, let's watch Hollywood. Let's watch the time in what's it called?
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Fuck's sake.
It's a beefy name, innit?
Yeah,
It really
It is a beefy name.
he can do whatever he wants.
Oh yeah, he's not
He
bothered.
could make it 30 words long.
He was originally going to call Inglourious Bastards Once Upon a Time in Nazi occupied France.
That's a brilliant
hilarious.
name. That's a
But
brilliant
that
name.
became the name of chapter 1 in the film, I think.
Really?
So, like,
Can't
it
remember.
comes up and it's like
Oh,
chapter 1 Once Upon a Time.
That is an amazing opening. I would say that's one of the best claim. One of the best first scenes in a movie of the decade.
What film, sorry?
Inglourious Bastards.
Inglourious Bastards.
The
Yeah. Oh my god, yeah.
I watch that first scene twice a year, every year since I've seen that movie.
It's brilliant, isn't it?
The scene where they go in looking for Jews and he's like interrogating them while the Jews are under the floorboards.
Mm-hmm.
The Jewish
It's
people.
so tense.
The Jewish people.
I think that scene alone is worthy of Christoph Waltz's Best Picture Oscar. Best Picture? Silly. Best Foreign Actor Oscar.
Because it should be so boring. Like,
Mhm.
it goes against everything. Like, it should be boring, and
Yeah.
it's so captivating.
Yeah.
I don't get how.
Yeah.
It-
Captivating
It's
is
fascinating.
the perfect word. By the time you watch the first 20 seconds, you have to finish that scene.
Mhm.
Because you're just so engrossed in both the characters and their understandings of each other. You're constantly reading what each character thinks of one another. And as it goes later on, you see, oh, what I thought was wrong, Christoph Waltz thinks this guy's, like, first you're like, oh, he's trying to overplay him. He's trying to walk in here and be like, oh, this is my house. But really, he's flexing his power by making it not his own.
Mhm.
You know, he walks in the room and the owner of the house is like, is it okay if I smoke? It's like, yeah, it's your
Yeah,
place.
yeah.
Smoke all you want.
And then Christoph Waltz gets out his big pipe,
Oh,
and
yeah.
it just
His big
it's
fuck
just
off pipe.
yeah, it just tells you everything about that scene.
How long does it go on for? Because it's a beefy scene, isn't it?
I think it's like under 15 minutes, but
Yeah.
it's long.
It's long for just to be
one
in one
scene,
room,
yeah.
and
Yeah.
how tense it is, and how long it builds up.
It's
But-
also beautifully shot.
Yeah, great.
The light, the way it wraps around the characters and the color, the set design. It
When
all
the
flows together.
the people underneath the floorboards as well, you can just see when shots of them, you can just see the light, like the slits of light coming through the floorboards. Terrifying.
Yeah.
So spooky. But speaking of like Tarantino, you mentioned David Fincher and Hitchcock before as
Uh-huh.
well. What sort of directors' films do you sort of go to for cinematography? Is it like Fincher and stuff like that, or is it anyone else?
So I love everything Fincher does,
Mm-hmm. Same.
and that those came to mind together because Hitchcock and Fincher are like quite similar in a way
Mm-hmm.
that their cinematography is always just glued on what's happening.
Yeah.
And I know that sounds kind of dumb. Like, yeah, obviously they're shooting what's going on, but like Tarantino likes to minder around the world.
Yeah.
You know, rather than just the central character.
In David Fincher films, it kind of feels like the sort of eye of God that sort of goes where it wants and isn't really constrained a lot of the time.
Yeah.
It sort of just carries it, like Panic Room does that.
Mm-hmm.
It just sort of leaves like the panic room and explores the house, and
there's loads of shots in that when it just goes through objects.
Yeah, well Fincher's big on that, on like combining CGI with cinematography and making it seamless. Like he'll just go through
like
objects.
The Social Network.
Did you know that The Social Network has more CGI shots than Godzilla does?
That's an awesome. I love
it's
that.
It's great.
Yeah.
It's because of the twins, isn't it? In that film, because they had to use the same actor.
Yeah,
I didn't know
Armie
that.
Hammers. You didn't know he plays both the twins.
Well, you couldn't tell.
To go back to a question, I think it's hard to define by director.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's more. It is more down to like the DOP or something like that. But
yeah, so to me, it comes down to I like films that are shot in an older sort of style.
Okay.
So before saying about Marriage Story being shot on 35mm,
yeah,
film's really important to me, and in my photography, I only shoot film now.
Oh wow, that's really interesting. Is it expensive to do that?
People say that.
Yeah.
At uni right now, you can go to the A4 More store and get black and white film for £4 and then develop it for free. It's I don't know why more people don't do that.
Yeah.
I did go the other day and they were out of film,
Oh,
which is a bit annoying.
That's quite sad.
But then if you go to a normal store, it's still only like £6.
Yeah. Is it difficult to get to like grips with shooting on film? Because I've never done it personally ever.
Oh, it's an amazing experience.
Really?
You're seeing your memories come to life
on a little piece of celluloid or whatever. Yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah, and I'm just obsessed with cameras in general.
Yeah.
And sometimes people ask me like, "Oh, how many cameras you own?" And I'm like, 12.
Oh my god.
I wasn't expecting that.
I've got 2, including my phone.
I've got 1 and it's a home video camera.
And yeah, literally people are like, "How do you own so many? A camera costs like £500." I'm like, "No, it doesn't."
Yeah.
I go to a like what you call it, like a hipster store, a charity shop.
Yeah.
They're like, "Oh, here's an old film camera, £15." Boom. It's only slightly different to the other one I have.
Yeah.
But that slight difference is a historical memory.
Yeah. It's significant to like the time and the actual camera itself.
Yeah. And also because they're so cheap, people just get them as presents.
Mm-hmm.
If you like, my great uncle has got me this. Recently got me a Kodak camera from the 30s.
Wow.
And it's one of the the fold out ones that looks like that has like the black rub on the outside. That stretches in and out.
Whoa.
Wow.
And he collects cameras, so he's all geeky about it like me.
Is that where your sort of fascination comes from? Like,
oh, I only met him like 3 years ago.
Oh wow. We don't need to go into that if it's
no. It's literally that it's my great uncle. That's my granddad's brother. He just lives in Australia, and he just hasn't been back to England.
I've got a great auntie in Australia.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe you're both related.
What's her name?
I don't know.
Should
I know?
You should know.
I've never met her.
Okay.
I don't think. Not like me as an adult. I've never met her. I don't know why we're talking about my great auntie from Australia.
Yeah. So and he gets me this Kodak camera, and it's like a weird shade of green.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, "Oh, why is it that color? I've never seen that color before." And he's like, "Oh, in the 30s, photography was only a male profession. Like women would barely own a camera."
Yeah.
So it was like, "Oh, this is them trying to make it a female thing. So they make it green and they make it quote unquote accessible and fashionable or whatever." And he's like, and no one bought them. And there's only like a few of them that people have. And like, this is one. That's awesome.
That is really interesting.
That's really cool. Yeah.
I think it's interesting the way you say like you can get cameras for cheap as well. Like for people who want to start doing photography or like filmmaking, they're always like, "Oh, cameras are like £400-500," and it's not. There's like other options.
Yeah.
Like, what would you recommend people do? Like, just check charity shops and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or have a look online.
Yeah, you can get a great 35mm camera for between £50 and £100. And if you keep buying film for that and keep developing it, it will take you a few years before you get to the price of a digital camera.
Yeah.
And by that, you can save money as you're doing it.
Yeah. Or even make money.
Yeah, even make money. Or because a roll's £5, you could sell a photo to one of your friends, be like, "Oh, here's a photo of you I took. Give me £1 and I'll give it to you."
You just got to do that 6 times to make a profit.
Yeah,
then
exactly.
you're professional. Like,
Yeah.
you're making money from your work.
You can put it on your CV.
Is there anything else that you want to add before?
Are we wrapping up?
Well, is there
we're
anything
wrapping
you
up.
specifically want to talk about relating to cinematography that we haven't touched on yet? Anything that just...
Oh, we sort of fly by it. So I was talking about before the film that I just made, Hyperactive.
Yeah.
It goes into something about my dyslexia.
Yeah.
And that's why I've always loved cinematography.
Mm-hmm.
It's because I am a shit reader.
Okay.
I can barely spell. It takes me forever to read when I'm not on medication.
Mm-hmm.
And I can just never zone in with a book in the same way that I do with a movie. And movies captivate me, and they motivate me, and they change the way I feel. And if I can somehow, for someone like me, that the visuals are very important, and just when a shot just lines up perfectly and it matches what the character's feeling. Because it's not just about spectacle, right? Sometimes it's so easy to be like, oh, this is a great shot because it looks so good. But like, what's its point in the story?
Yeah.
What's it representing about what the character's going through? Or wants? And when those hit perfectly, that's what I consider like true cinematography. Not just making pretty pictures, but making them mean something.
Yeah.
Making mean something to people that are looking for meaning in the chaos that is reality. Robert McKee says something really cool about cinema. He's like, oh, people often talk about cinema as like an escape from reality. But he's like, no, it's not that. It's a vehicle that you're using to understand the world around you.
Yeah, I get that. Like, it is great being able to watch a film and just seeing things told to you without being said. Do you know what I mean? That's when a film really works for me. That's when I'm like, yeah, this gets it. You know what I mean? It sounds like you're interested in the idea of like expressing, and with like the difficulties you've came across with your dyslexia, cinema's sort of like your access point to be able to like express, but also like understand. I just find that really interesting. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Because like, I know for me, like, I don't have like dyslexia or anything, but I always really struggled reading with like attention and stuff like that. But as soon as like I got onto films, I was just like, yeah, this is brilliant. I love stories.
Yeah.
I like writing and stuff like that. But I never really got that with books because it was such a hard commitment.
Yeah, it relates to that. When I did Great Gatsby at A level, I had to read the book. I never read the book. I watched the film, and I did the entire course. I got an E in the end, so I wouldn't recommend doing that. But yeah, I
wait. You say you got an E or an A?
An E.
Sorry.
And but I was able to like blag my way through the entire course just by watching the movie.
Until you got an E.
Yeah, until I got an E.
I'm not sure I ever finished any of the books that I had to read in school. I don't think so. A few of them had movies, but I think they purposely. I think my teacher told me this. They purposely didn't make us read books that had movie adaptations.
So you didn't read Of Mice and Men or
no, nothing
Holes?
like that. Nope. Well, that was only in middle school.
Yeah.
In high school, we read like Things Fall Apart and The Bell Jar. Very like unadaptable sort of stories. We didn't read, but Catcher in the Rye. Like people talk about how that's the most unadaptable book ever.
Why is that?
Have you read it?
No.
Essentially, it's just all in the character's mind.
Okay.
He's just like walking down New York, and he's just like, "Oh, that girl's pretty," and then he just goes off on a rant in his mind about how they could maybe have a lovely life together if she would have just said hello. There's not any spectacle going on ever.
Yeah.
He's just walking through the streets and then sitting in a bar silently, and he like barely meets anyone. He just walks around. He just walks around like really hateful of the world.
Sounds like me. Sounds like my life.
He calls everyone. There's some word that he uses. It's like faker or something like that.
Posers.
Yeah.
That was actually the word I was joking.
Maybe. Okay. Essentially, he goes around being like, "Oh, you're all posers. Like, I'm the only one." Essentially, because that's how we all are, right? We all forget sometimes that other people have their voice in their head that is telling them what to do.
Definitely.
telling them what to do. I mean, not
that was
telling them.
anonymous.
Like, wait, we all have 3 different voices in our head. Am I right?
What?
You don't have three voices that argue with each other.
I think I
all
have
the time?
2.
No, that's just me.
I'm
That was-
scared.
Wait, you don't have a voice telling you to like kill everyone in the room.
I'm not admitting to that.
That's the only good part. That's a joke, by the way. That was the only good part of Suicide Squad. When it's so shit. Oh my god! But I love when she's just like, "Oh, what? I should kill everyone in the room and then run away." It's like, "Oh, the voices." Just kidding. That's not what they said.
What are we, some kind of Suicide Squad?
Did you see the Wonder Woman trailer?
Yeah.
The new one?
Yeah.
I try to avoid trailers.
I
generally,
do sometimes.
so-
I do with like Avengers and stuff that I'm invested in.
You religiously avoid.
Oh,
Endgame
God,
and
yeah, that-
Infinity
Oh,
War.
dude,
That was a nightmare.
my friend Joe. He's so angry at me because of how actively I avoid Star Wars trailers.
Oh really? I'll watch Star Wars trailers, but yeah, go on.
We went to go see Knives Out the other day.
Hmm.
And the Star Wars trailer came on. I literally covered my ears and like wrapped my scarf around my head.
Mate,
I remember you and Samir doing that.
I've ran out the cinema
Yeah.
before.
You and Leon did that.
Yeah.
I've only seen like 2 frames of the new Star Wars.
That's what
movie.
I used to say.
I can't wait. Yeah, right. I cannot wait to just go see it and have no idea what's going on.
Yeah. That's my
Hopefully
thoughts.
be wild.
Yeah, that was my thought with Endgame and stuff.
Yeah.
I knew I'd seen like 2 frames. You know what I mean? The thumbnails of the videos on
literally.
YouTube.
But it was
Oh.
still only the first 15 minutes. Because you watched the trailers afterwards, didn't you?
Yeah.
it
I
didn't
always go
spoil
back and
any
watch
of
the
the plot.
trailers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like doing that afterwards as well. Actually.
Oh, it was great.
It's really funny.
Yeah, I'm doing the triple bill of Star Wars.
Oh, dude.
I'm doing
Josh was
Force
telling me
Awakens
about
and
that. That's
Last
so
Jedi.
Sick.
It's going to be a sweaty
So-
screen. It's going to be a dirty, grotty, smelly screen.
I managed to convince our friend Josh to go by so I'm going with a friend called Sean and we're going to see it like in a particular screen,
Yeah.
like in an IMAX screen. And
that's
I was
sick. all of them on IMAX.
yeah.
Oh,
And I was saying to our friend Josh, "Oh, you can come with us, but you'll be in a different screen. But there's like intervals, so we can come out and see each other, and then go see the film. And we're not going to be talking anyway."
yeah.
And he was like,
That's a
"Oh
really
no,
good
I'm not going to go by myself." So I managed to convince another friend to go with him.
And now he's managed to convince Callum.
Oh, is it? Oh, it's brilliant.
I would love to go, but unfortunately, I'm not in Manchester. I was looking. There's a few in London. I want to check those out.
I'll probably be working it, and I'm not excited. The best one was Endgame. I worked the midnight for that, and because I work in the cinema. I work in the cinema. If you don't know, I work in the cinema. And I was on with Josh.
Okay.
I was on with Josh on the box office, and Endgame had sold out like at like 11, and the midnight showing was at 12. So we had about like 200, 300 people turning up who hadn't pre-booked tickets, and it sold out in all of our screens. So there was nothing we could do. So we just sat there saying "sold out, sold out." It's the best shift ever because you just sat there just saying "sold out" for ages, and you were like, "Oh, is there anything that we can do?" And I'm like, "Just go to a different cinema." I was about to say,
Don't give a shout out to a different cinema. You'll get fired.
Oh, God.
Listen, just cross the street, go down like 5 minutes. Wait, am I thinking of the right place? Whatever.
Go to View Printworks in Manchester. Oh, so yeah, what's sort of coming up for you now?
I don't want to say what the plot of it is.
Okay.
Because I think saying of what you guys said, I think you'll be really excited about it as well.
Okay.
But so as I said, it's with my house.
You're a very talented house, as it seems.
Basically, yeah. So it's Callum, Samuel, it's me, Joe, and Georgia, and Josh as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it'll be a non-linear narrative film between 6 to 10 minutes.
Is this for uni, or is this just you doing this off your own back?
It's for uni, but Callum and I were talking this idea like before we even had the project.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And when we do, like, doing something for uni, people talk about how, like, oh, does that invalidate it?
Yeah.
And first of all, I think no, because most of the time, I care more about what I want it to be. I think my last film was over the time limit for the project. But I don't care because this is what it is.
Yeah.
if they want to cut it off, then they can do that. Because it doesn't matter. It's an arts degree. I'm gonna come out this degree with nothing, right? But I mean, a piece of paper, but I will have the job experience I've had along the way, and the experience of making the films.
It sounds like you've really grasped like the potential of uni at the minute, because you're focusing on like your portfolio rather than the end point of the degree. You're using your degree as a entry point to get into film, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
To start learning, basically. That's what it's for, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you're making the most out of it, aren't you?
Yeah. I mean, the fact that we're in this room right now, it's an opportunity that we have that most people don't use.
Yeah. Well, that's like, this started from a uni project. Do you know what I mean? We had the idea a long time ago, and a uni project that just happened to line up with it, and we were like, well, yeah, we may as well do it. It motivated us to do it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, we had a brief for 2 10-minute episodes. What podcast is 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Like, that's why our first 2 episodes 10 minutes, and then we just went past. Now this is, 40 minutes that we're rolling at?
Great stuff.
Very nice, very nice.
Yeah, it's just an awesome, or even the stuff I was talking about, like with the film. The fact I can check out a camera that's worth a stupid amount of money and just use it for a weekend whenever I want is amazing.
While you were saying about like booking out cameras, I've got a story related to that. I hope my mum's not listening to this, because it should be more time. So I booked out cameras like the other week to go shoot for Manchester fashion show, and
cool.
we were shooting adverts, and I was waiting at the bus stop. A guy set a firework off right next to my foot while I had like £1,000 worth of cameras next to me.
Wow.
What did you do?
My
entire body shook for like half an hour, and I couldn't control
it.
it.
That's awful. Jesus. Wait, but most importantly, were the cameras okay?
Yeah, the cameras were fine. I rarely shit myself over the cameras.
I guess were you okay as well?
No, genuinely, I was shitting myself over the cameras. I don't give a fuck about me.
I can just imagine this footage for the fashion... What was it?
Manchester charity fashion show.
I can imagine all the footage is just dead shaky because you were doing it.
Was it before or after?
Just before.
Oh, shit.
Literally as he was walking into the building to do it.
Because like I was stood next to a guy, and he went up to the guy, asked the guy for a lighter. The guy gave him a lighter, and then he lit the firework with that lighter.
Oh, Jesus. Imagine how that guy feels. He was like, oh yeah, sure, I'll do this nice thing for you. Oh shit.
Firework. Oh. So yeah.
Jesus.
We went very off topic.
It's a good time, so.
Okay, if we're relating it back to the topic, we used a flare, like a smoke grenade, on the documentary that we did last year, and that was hilarious. Just like filling up a hallway with purple smoke and having the artist come out of this music video that we were shooting.
So I think we'll wrap it up there. So thanks to Kyle as always for being my co-host.
Thank you, Phil.
Thanks to Sam for coming on and talking about cinematography.
Cheers, this was great. Thanks, guys.
No worries. So if you have any passions yourself that you want us to talk about, feel free to leave them in the comments below.
Or hit us up in the DMs if you want to come on the show yourself.
Yeah, if you want to come on the show and talk about your passion, we'd love to have you on. We're always looking for guests. But other than that, we'll see you next time.
Have a good day.
Goodbye.